Hi, everyone. This is Julia at Booksy, and I am here with the amazing Bird Mena and Brandy Lachey. We are here for trade shows, why we go, and what to know. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Bird and Brandy. And I know it's going to be the next couple minutes while people trickle in as they're clicking those links to get here. But to start out, let's tell people a little bit about who you both are and why we are going to get such great gems from you. So tell me a little bit about who you are, your history with trade shows, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to hand it to you, Bird, because you're on my right.
Oh, but let's ladies first. Ladies first.
Well,
Ladies first.
I will get Brandy back up here on stage, but for the moment, let's go ahead and have you
Okay.
introduce yourself.
Let's make it happen then. Let's make it happen. My name is Bird Mena. I have been in the industry for some time now. You want me to go all out right now, or yeah? All right. So I've been in the industry for a lot. I don't even know how many years, but since I was like 14, I've been going to trade shows since the beginning for a long, long time. Not the beginning, but for a long time, right? And I've traveled to more than 30 plus countries around the world, visiting trade shows, hair shows, fashion shows, all type of shows. And as a student, as a barber, as a cosmetologist, as an educator, in all different forms, I've gone to these shows. And I'm looking forward to speaking a little bit about trade shows with Brandy, and it's gonna be good. That's just a little bit about me. I don't want to go too deep.
Brandy, who is a
Right.
part of the program as the
Don't give
original
it all
barber.
up in the beginning, Bird. So my name is Brandy Lachey, also known as the original Barber Doll. I have to make sure I say my name sometimes because I hear Barber Doll, Barber Doll, Barber Doll at trade shows. But I'm excited to be here. 25 years cutting hair. I started when I was 14. Oh yes. Oh yes. I just had a birthday.
Happy birthday.
40 years old, 25 years in this industry. I don't do anything better but wake up in the morning and say, wow, I can't believe I get to do what I do on a regular basis. It's amazing. I can't believe I get to be a barber, and I can't believe it's paved the way for so many other avenues in my career. And a lot of that has happened through trade shows. So a little bit about me. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. My home base here of my barbershop is the Barber Doll House. And that is, it's really a lofty feel. It feels like a home, but it's barber stuff only, barber furniture in every room. We take good care of our clients here. What else? That's it. Education, ambassadorship, uh, barber, mentorship, life coach, writer, you name it. Like, I want to dive into it, as most of us creative barbers are. We dive into everything. But thank you for the happy birthdays. And that's it. I'll turn it back over to Julian.
When was your birthday?
My birthday was March 28th.
Oh, mine was March 19th.
What?
I was March
You
14th.
we
We're all
just
in March.
missed
That's
it.
amazing.
That's crazy. You
Yeah.
you are too, Julia.
That's like magic.
That is magic. I feel
What?
magic.
Okay, so this whole conversation is going to be centered around trade shows. There's going to be so many gems. I'm so excited to get right into it. For everyone who's here attending, I just dropped a message in the chat saying you can ask your questions for Brandy and Bird here. So as we're going, if one of them says something and you're like, oh my God, I want to know more about that, drop it in the chat. I'll make sure that they hear it and we'll get it answered as we go. So I think a great place to start, because this is true for both of you. You are both you're obviously you're industry professionals, you're ambassadors and influencers, but you're also educators, and you've been trade show educators. So I'd love to hear from your perspective as an educator, what kind of education, when you see it on a trade show billing, has you go, oh my God, I'm going to see that?
Ooh, that's good. That's a good
That is a
question.
good question. I'll start. You want to go?
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think
Don't lie, girl. Don't lie.
because we're barber forward. You know, I definitely style sometimes here and there, but because we're barber forward in our beauty industry, I'm not gonna lie, being able to see our industry grow in the barber world, seeing those sections become a bit bigger than they were 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. It's astonishing seeing those sections become bigger, and now I'm interested in seeing what class stands out and gets me to say, wow, it's probably going to be something when it comes to hands-on. Every like you see a lot of people get up and talk, but when you get to get involved and they can show you your product, when you can talk to the educator. I like the intimate settings like that. So anything that's more intimate, I pick it up right away. So that's my favorite class. Those are my favorite classes to go to.
Brilliant. What about you, Bird?
Love it. For me, I would have to agree with her on that part of my favorite classes, of course, were always hands-on. But I look at everything as buckets, right? Including this. So like when I'm looking at a flyer of a show, I try to see what type of education the educator is bringing, right? So when I say buckets, there's barbers that are very traditional, that are very old school, and maybe I can learn how to do clipper over comb better, as an example, just an example. But then there's modern barbering, maybe like modern hairdressing, like men's hairdressers, someone like let me see, like a Josh LaMonica. It's more precise, the sectioning, and it's a whole different bucket from the traditional. Then there's like where I come from, I would say, like very sharp, like urban barbering, which is like sharp lines, sharp beards, like everything has to be sharp. So I look at those type of barbers as well to see like where I can like enhance my skills. And for me, I always try to keep an open mind. So like if I want to learn stuff from this type of barber, from that type of barber, and then I could mix it all, and then I'll know everything, So it's like perfect to like, and of course I'm not cutting hair anymore at the moment, but I use that strategy in everything that I do. Like if I could learn a little bit about how to market yourself this way, or how they do this type of stuff, and I just mix it into one whole soup, got this recipe, baby. But yeah, that's how I look at stuff. So I'm looking at a flyer, I'm seeing, all right, this is something that I don't know how to do, and I would love to like learn more about. As an example, last year I was working with a brand that is releasing this year, and the brand is a they focus on the pieces of hair right here, like a toupee basically. And that's like something that's growing in our industry right now. So like if I could go and learn how to put hair on somebody, like glue the hair correctly or tape the hair correctly on a gentleman and give them a nice set of hair, that's awesome. That's a new service I could learn, because I think
that's immediately what I thought when I said the hands-on. I immediately was thinking about that type of service, because
right?
I haven't jumped in there yet, and that's the one class I always want to like steal away and like kind of get over there and try to see.
I got you. But the reason why I was saying that is because I think with all that Brandy said and what I just said, the key thing that comes to mind is like keeping an open mind about everything. Like don't, like if you are a very traditional barber, don't close the door to like urban barbering, or don't close the door to men's hairdress, or don't close the door to hair coloring, like learning, or don't close the door to all these new things just because it's not what you really like. And I see that a lot. I have friends that are like, I'm into like very, like as an example, they'll be like, oh, I'm very into traditional, the barbering, the hot towel shaves, which is awesome. It's a big part of us. But I think there's also all these other elements that you can add. And even if you don't do it all the time, it's something that you could like learn and maybe use in the future. So
agreed.
Yeah. So that's the answer, Julia, right there.
What you got for us, Julia?
All right, so here's another one. So obviously both of you are in partnerships with Booksy, but you are with other brands too. And so education is huge when it comes to trade shows, but equally, if not more massive, is all these different brands that are there. You've got color lines, you've got clipper lines, you've got technology groups. So what is it that has you go to see different companies? What's the value for people of going to those booths?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about being with other brands, or if you're talking about a barber on here being interested in the brand as far as ambassadorship is concerned, the benefit of being in the room is it's a warm connection or a hot connection, you know, as opposed to a cold one. A lot of people want to get involved with other companies and seeking out partnership with brands and ambassadorships. And there's business that has to be handled as well. And so on the other, so to understand how that business works, because this is all new to us as well. I think the partnerships with barbers, with cosmetologists, and with nail technicians, like our beauty industry, period. I think we're all thinking there's a certain way to do everything. There's a correct way and there's a wrong way. And I think if you stay traditional with how would you like, if it was your company or if it was your business, how would you like to be approached? I would think having a connection and showing up and saying, I've used your products. It works. This is how it works on my clientele. Even showing them that you're really interested because you've forwarded their information onto as a selling mechanism. You know, I think it's important to be able to show a company your metric systems with their product or their brand, and it be an authentic connection. Because a lot of people, and this is, I hate to always have to say, like, it's not to brag, but it's not. But a lot of my DM is how. And that doesn't stand out to me as well as someone walking up to me and saying, I'd like to do a class with you. I'd like to do some business with you. It's just so much more impactful that you took the time, you took your finances, and you said, you know what, I'm going to invest in going to the show because Bird's going to be there. And I want to talk to him about what he does beyond the chair, and what better way to get his attention than to be in front of that person, in front of that company, and get that warm connection. Who do I talk to, and how can my brand and your brand show value towards each other and continue to grow? So I think the bottom line is quality trumps everything, and consistency. So if I see you and your quality is good and you're consistent, I know we can long haul it together. I think it's best to show up and be in person. A lot of people are on the other side of the screens, like, we're still functioning as humans. Everything's not an avatar. Like, you have to get beyond having the phone in your hand and actually show up, because that's going to make the best impression. You know, it's not the only thing. It's just.
I like it. I love it. So a few things clicked for me on that, and one of them is like to take initiative. You know, for me, I sometimes just do it and invest into it before I'm even told to even do it. So if we backtrack, I'll give you an example. I will go and film something out of my pocket for a brand, so then I could show it and be like, hey, look, I created this for you, you know, to hopefully build a relationship or to just connect, you know. And I've done that in multiple places, like in the hair industry, in the barber industry, in the fashion industry, and built relationships with clothing brands and sneaker companies, just because I'll go and create something ahead of time and just be like, hey, I shot this and I wanted to see if you guys like it. And they'll maybe post it, maybe not, but at the end of the day, it opens up a new door for me to build a relationship. So with that being said, I would say take initiative and don't just look for the final result right there. So if you go and film something for a brand yourself, and you took that initiative, don't think that that's going to give you, you're not going to become an ambassador right away, or you're not going to become a whatever position you want, you know. And it just doesn't happen like that. But you know, it's also a good learning experience while you're doing it. You know, it's a good way to like network in a way. It's like a little hack that I use, and it has helped me, you know, for me. So I wrote that. Then I wrote from what you were saying. I think that the fact that you get all these messages that say like, how how did you do this? How did you do that? Like, I think a lot of us get that, you know, like for me, I became the creative director for a clipper company, and stopped cutting hair. So they're like, well, how did you do that? You know, how did you do that? How can I be a part of the brand? How can, and for Brandy being a global educator, and you work for Babeless, how did you do that? Like, I'm sure that we just get bombarded with it nonstop. And I like what you said there, because they don't ask like, hey, how can I learn? And I get that a lot too. And I'm like, man, like, it sucks, because what I wrote on my notes there is, I always get, hey, can I pick your brain? Can I pick your brain? But like, no, to pick my brain is going to cost you to pick this brain. You know? So like, anyone that's in here is actually, they should be happy that they're in here, because we are taking time out of our days to share knowledge that you know, we could charge for. You know, Brandy could charge for it, I could charge for it. And I think that that's something that happens a lot. How can I pick your brain? Just let me talk to you for a little bit. You know, and it's no, like, you know, we worked our way up to do this, and we invested a lot going to trade shows. Somebody wrote business cards, like handing out business cards. So much. Like, here's another little trick that I used to do when I was like fully active at every single trade show.
Put these tricks out here. I love this.
Check this one out. So I had 2 different business cards. I had a business card that was just like a lot of them. Like, it was just a generic. It was nice because I'm always into branding, and I love the way things look. Like, it has to look very professional before I even put it out, right? So I had 2 business cards. One card was it was a lot of them, just a normal card. I don't know if I have one around here, but probably not. Just a normal business card. And then I had one that was like aluminum. Like, it was like something that you're going to remember this shit. And sorry for cursing, but you're going to remember this. You're going to remember this. We're going to be real here. So you're going to remember this one. And the design was better. It just looked sick. It like shined. It was glossy. It was dope. And here's the trick. Like, when I was going to these shows, of course, I had a goal, right? And we'll touch base on that. But you should always have a goal when you're going to these shows, right? So the business cards, the one that I had a lot of, I would give those to any barbers or stylists that I would meet at booths and around, like wherever. If I was grabbing something to eat, hey, where you from? Oh, here's my business card. Let's connect, you know, and we connect. Oh, here's my Instagram. We connect even further, right? Oh, here's my Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And then the other ones, the aluminum ones, I would give to the owners of the brand. Like, I would somehow figure out, like by networking at their booths, I'd figure out who is the boss in there, or who is the owner of this brand. And it didn't matter if it was the smallest brand in there or the biggest brand in there, because maybe the smallest will eventually be the biggest, and that's a big fact, right? So no matter who it was, I would always save that aluminum one for the person that, like, I really want them to one day maybe remember me, you know. And it was like something of consistency. Like, I remember seeing these barbers that I looked up to, and seeing them multiple times, and like, they meet so many people, they didn't remember me. I'm like, damn, like, and it happens now that I do it to people certain times, because we meet so many people. Now we're on the other side.
Yeah, it's
so now,
so bad. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It hurts my feelings on the other side. I'm like, no, I don't remember.
Right. So now when that happens, I'm always like, whenever I'm at a show, I always say, hey, nice to see you.
Nice to see
instead
you.
Instead of nice to meet you. Because if I say nice to meet you, they always say, oh, I already met you before.
That's good. Thank you. Let me write. Where's my pen and pad?
Nice to see
That's
you.
A good
Hey,
one.
nice. And because it's hard for us, you know, and I was, and we were in the other side too, like before. It's all the same side, but like I remember going to a show and being like, hey, what's up? Meeting this guy. And then I see him again, and I'm like, the second year, hey, what's up, bro? And they're like, hey, nice to meet you. And I'm like, man, I met you last year.
Yeah,
like, this guy don't remember me.
Good to see you. And you know, I think even with that, with what you were saying about backtracking a little bit to what you were saying about even the cards. I mean, everything is about everything, like he said, from the smallest brand to the largest brand, the idea is to stand out. The idea is to make sure you have the attention of the market you're targeting, and
Right.
and quality is always going to trump that. So if I have, people can feel. I remember, Bert, I don't know if you remember this or not, but like in high school, do you remember they had this day where they come around and they're like, okay, when you're ready to go to the next, go to college, they had the 2-year college. It was on like the paper that you print. It
The
was on.
pamphlet.
Yeah, it was like a little flimsy piece of paper, and you write on it, and then you pull it up, and it would ink the other paper that you sign your name.
Oh, yeah.
But the 4-year college was on cardstock paper. It was a thicker paper. It had a printed stamp signature on there. So even when you're making these warm connections, when you're meeting people, make sure you keep eye contact. But when you're shaking hands or you pass that business card, the only time eye contact, which should be broken, is if they're like, hot damn, like, what do I have? Oh, cursing.
You're okay. Keep going. Don't listen. Great.
So we're the only time that eye to eye, that connection should be broken is if you're looking down to say, wow, like the quality of this card is phenomenal. They feel that, and then they look down, and then they come back up. You know immediately when you've got a good connection and it's engaged properly. I remember from branding and marketing, because I did a little branding and marketing before I started barbering fully. And in the branding and marketing stages, I realized that business cards had started getting a little fancy after Vistaprint came out, some years ago. And everyone had that, like, get like 1,000 cards for $9 or something.
Yeah.
So everybody went in on that. And there weren't very many different styles. So you can sometimes be handed a card that looks like someone else's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so over time, I think they started coming out with people getting square cards and people getting, I bring this up to say, it's a good idea what he's saying with the quality of the card. That's a great idea in marketing gem. But make sure you don't go too far and get something like a square card. The square cards were always on the ground afterwards because they don't in men's wallets.
Yeah.
And then you have to remember, trade show people are carrying book bags and stuff, and you don't want your stuff to get lost in the mix. Make sure that first connection is the best you can give, and the best should be the highest quality and
Right.
it stands out the most. But brand, that's what brands look for. But when you go in there are some things you haven't seen on the web yet. Like, you haven't seen come down your timeline. There are some people who want to make connections because they're trying to put their best foot forward as well. I'd say this is a big one. Don't try and mimic other barbers to get where they are, because they already have a bird. You know what I mean? Booksy already has a bird. So don't show up thinking like,
just be yourself.
Right. Babyliss did not have an original barber doll. That's why they have an original barber doll. So they don't need another original barber doll. They need the next. Stay on track and do your thing so you can show people what they're missing. So showing them, like, that's brilliant. Taking your camera in there and you're filming a commercial for somebody. Here's your marketing campaign for the next 6 months. I got you. That's brilliant.
It closes deals. I'm telling you, it's brought up like so many good opportunities for me, and like I think that is something that our industry lacks, because our industry is like, not everybody, but I'm just speaking real. Like, it's, hey, how can I become an ambassador? All right, well, what are you gonna do for this brand so that the brand is like, to be an ambassador, you have to help elevate it in some way, shape, or form. Because how Brandy said earlier, imagine if you're the owner of that company, like, imagine I see somebody that takes the initiative and comes in ready, like, oh, here, I got something for you guys that I filmed because I really like your product. And and another thing that is lacking in our industry is the fact that and this is a big one here, but everyone wants to just become an ambassador for anything instead of something they actually believe in. Like, you gotta be behind a brand that you actually believe in, not just because you want to put it on your bio that you're an ambassador for blah blah blah. You know, that's not. I won't go down that route. Let's go back to the shows, but stay away from there. Stay away from there. Anyways, I was talking about the purpose of, like, what is your purpose when you go to the shows, like, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's very important, Brandy, because like when you're going to a trade show, you gotta have some type of like goal, like an ultimate goal, you know. And I'll give you guys my goals when I was going. My goals was always to like network, because obviously there's probably people in here that don't know like what I've done or anything. But like I started a brand called Sharp Fade. It became like a global brand, like an ESPN, working for like barbers and hairdressers and plug-in barbers and different places of the world and doing a lot, right? I wanted to build a brand. So for me was really meeting barbers, because I wanted to work with barbers the whole time. You know, I wanted to step away from the chair and work with barbers, work with this one and say, hey, we have an opportunity here, blah, 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 blah. Right. So my goal was always to network and meet everyone. But if you want to become an educator, if you want to become a platform artist, if you want to become an entrepreneur, owner of a hair brand, whatever it is, you have to have that in place in your head. Or if you're just a student, it's fine, but at least have some type of goal when you're going to these shows. Like, all right, my goal is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just network with this brand that is similar to the brand that I want one day, you know. And even though mine might be different, I wanna maybe meet them and blah blah blah. I think that's important. Or I want to meet this educator. I want to meet this platform artist. Or I just want to have good deals. You know, I want to go and take advantage of these deals. But I think there has to be some type of like end goal. What do you think, Brandy? Am I wrong here or what?
No, you're killing it. I mean, I we talked the other day, and I was telling you guys, like, the first show that I did was in 2015, I think. And the first show I went to, I was in the show. And so I didn't know, and we were talking about that because we were like, how do you jump to that? It's literally the presentation on my page that they were in, that particular company was interested in connecting, and we did. And my goals, I didn't have a goal going in other than that particular class. It was a Big Rooms class and a Big Rooms panel. And sitting on the panel, my goals were formulating at that point because I saw so many needs. Like, we go there. I keep reiterating. I want to keep that in your head. This is fresh for all of us. Like, this is so fresh that you can walk in. Your presence being in the building is what was missing to tie to somebody else's, what they're coming up with. It's such a new part of the industry. If you feel behind, trust me, you're not. Like, you're not behind. Like, we're doing this now. And I think it's dope that you end up seeing a brand come together and another brand come together because they were sitting down having a conversation in between classes. Or I never thought of that. I mean, we weren't tattooing people's heads. We weren't tattooing people's heads 10 years ago. Barbers were not doing that. Maybe some of us, maybe.
You think I should tattoo mine? I don't know.
I was gonna say maybe no this time. For right now, let's just. I like where you're going right now with it.
But now we have Booksy providers that do exactly that, and they're providers. The whole niche is doing those pigmentation, those tattoos for hairlines. That's their whole thing now.
I mean, the cool thing with the trade shows are, I'm sure you've been seeing it too, Bird. The trade shows are starting to have like the SMP classes inside of the trade show now. You know,
Yeah.
before, I mean, it went from it not being there, barbers maybe having a little section, to it growing into classes, into now we have hands-on, into now it's like, you know what? Come here. I'm going to have a live model. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. You guys will leave certified. You know, like there's so many, and that's with some, that was their idea, you know, to add, that was their idea. And 10 years ago when that it didn't exist, it exists now. So I think whatever ideas you have to come to the table with, it is a beauty professional's dream. Whatever you really dream about having and owning and growing, I believe there is an opportunity to connect with that in the room and walk away with at least some good soil so you can start planting when you get home, you know?
100%.
Brilliant.
I'm reading that. Oh, guys, by the way, if you are going to be in ABS, make sure you come by booth 727. I won't be there, but my Booksy family will be there.
And
it's all
I'll
love,
be there, and some of our other great ambassadors will be there. And I'm just saying, stop by. I'm not promising that you'll end up in our Instagram stories, but I'm not saying that you won't if you come stuck. But in all seriousness, though, just before we move on to our next subject, the conversation has gone in this direction of ambassadors. And seriously, if you really want to know what someone like Bird, like Brandy, if you're going to be at ABS, what someone like Spiffster or Alfredo Lewis or A-Rod does, not necessarily in the day-to-day, but what they do in the trade show format, when you're at that trade show, look for that person's name. See the things that they're committed to. You know, so-and-so's teaching a class in this classroom, and then they're doing it at this booth. And you can watch it for the education, but you can also watch it for how does this person educate when they're at a trade show? Because if that's the direction that you want to go, that's the thing that can really make a difference in that looking. And then
you just sparked something.
Yeah.
You just sparked something. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get a little bite of this chocolate. Okay. All right. Listen to what Julia just said. Sorry, Julia, to cut you off, but you sparked something in my head. And girl, I gotta say it right now.
Okay, let's hear it.
Check this out. It's like when you're watching a movie, right? Some people are watching a movie and seeing the whole story, right? And like they're like paying attention. And sometimes, like for me, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, yo, like, where was the cameraman? Like, how did he get this angle? And I'm looking at the movie at a different perspective, like, oh, that was cool. So like when you go to these shows, look at everything at a different perspective and dissect it. Like I be dissecting like, oh man, like how the hell did they get this booth here? Like, you know, and like literally, obviously I know that the booth is there. I'm not, you know, but I try to dissect like, all right, these people probably planned like 6 months ahead. They ended up getting a marketing brand, some type of graphic designers. They had somebody build this out and dissected like a booth. Like, oh man, this would be sick. You know, maybe in the future you want to have a booth. That's just an example. But what Julia was saying, maybe you dissect the way that people educate or the way that people showcase. There's a huge difference between showcasing and educating. But dissecting and looking at things from a different perspective is huge. Thank you, Julia.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I love it. I'm like metaphor queen. Like I love understanding, getting things broken down like that to where you can understand it more simply. But that it's an excellent point. I remember being on stage one time and I'm cutting my model and someone is literally pulling on the bottom of my leg. I don't know if there's something on my pants, so I'm like kind of stumping. And then I look and they're like, and I'm like, I'm gonna, you know, whatever it is, I'm pulling the mic out of my face, whatever it is, like I'm gonna get to the question, or you can ask the question out in the audience. And he said, what brand is the microphone you're using on your head? And I was like, oh, and I looked at the pack. And so I'm telling him, it's crazy. Just to go along with what you're saying, it's crazy how much information. That's a barber who desires to be in this building next show. That's right. Somebody who wants to create their own platform and be in that platform next show. So there's so many. You're in the room with everything you need. You're probably
everything is there.
everything you need to take your business to the next level, even down to the simplest things. I love the fact that we're educating on finances now. I love the fact that people are explaining to, okay, now I'm, because we had a lot of 6-figure barbers pop up in the last couple of years. Like now everybody's a 6-figure barber. There are still people that are trying to get there. And there are also a group of people that are there and don't know what to do now. Like, okay, now I have 6 figures and now what? So let's talk about these investments. Let's talk about how to take your business to the next level, and let's not be afraid to fly out from the city where you are. You don't have to just support just that local city. Like, get on a flight.
It's a big world. It's a big world.
And be proud. Be proud. Like, wow, my Clippers me on the plane. My Clippers got me here. No one thinks of that. Like, your family doesn't think of you traveling and stuff. Like, sometimes it's like, what are you doing? You're a barber. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, barber.
So
yeah,
here's a story. Here's a quick story that she sparked up. See, I told you with me and Brandy, this is gonna be smooth, baby. Look, this is crazy because she just sparked something up. I was on an airplane not too long ago, and on the airplane, I'm sitting next to this gentleman from Brazil. Every time I'm on an airplane, I am literally networking with whoever's next to me. Like some way, shape, or form. Obviously, I have to do my scan and see if it's someone that I feel maybe I should network with or not. But I'm trying to network everywhere I go, right? So I started speaking to the gentleman. Ends up being a huge entrepreneur from Brazil, has 5,000 acres of land, blah, blah, blah. Very successful. He has private jets, blah, 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 blah. And I'm telling him what I do. I'm like, I'm in the barber industry. I do this, I do that, I do this. Long story short, he sends me this picture after the, like, maybe like a week later. He's like, hey, I'm getting a haircut. All right. He's like, hey, this is the gentleman. He's like, he's an older gentleman. He's like, and then he's like putting an arrow at his barber. And he writes, hey man, I wanted to tell you that my barber that's been cutting my hair for this many years is a huge fan of yours. And he met you in Brazil.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
See?
And it goes back to like what you're saying, like it's a big world, and it's like the fact that the tools that we use are able to like change so many lives, and we get these opportunities to travel and all of this. It's crazy, It's a big world, but it's little.
It's mind blowing. I don't even till this day. I can't sometimes, even in the moments, a client gets out of my chair or, speaking to another barber. I'm going to say this too, because it's just connections for me. I'm just so thankful. My gratitude has me pausing sometimes. But to be able to see somebody like my peers on my level, like it's different. We know it's levels to everything, but to be in a room with my peers, some who I just come from where they come from, some who, they use their last bit of money just to go to this class, some who just got their new shop. I just got my new shop. Like some who, like, it's so many different places to become relatable with each other there, right? And I feel like it's the fuel you need to keep going. Like, it's certain oil you can put in certain cars, and it's certain, and I think beauty influencers, I feel like our industry, our students, our educators, I feel like that's the place, that's our hub for refueling, and I don't feel like we can get it everywhere the same. You can't go sit down with your cousins and go so far, and then like, I'm in a magazine and they're like, you're a barber. And it's different when you get to sit down with other people and share that same passion for what is this that we're doing? What is this feeling that we have? What is the benefit of did we lose Julia?
No, she's just away. Like she's
Okay.
backstage right now.
What is the benefit of being able to make this connection with different people in your industry? And it's that refuel. It's that refuel. I'm not gonna lie, Bird. Don't do the thing. I see that's a bad habit of mine.
Nah, go ahead.
I'm
Don't
not
lie.
gonna
Don't
lie.
lie. She
But
almost fell.
but I it's refreshing for me to be around some of my peers that experience some of the things that I do. I remember being in a class once and raising my hand, and it was one of it was a barber class, and I was raising my hand and I was asking, how do you deal with when you're on stage and you're talking and you're educating and people are pulling on you while you're on stage? Like, how do you deal with that when you're on a floor? They call it the stage, but you're on a floor, and the
Right.
stage is then elevated. So I have a task that I need to do, but and everyone was like, no one pulls on you while you're. But I was experiencing that. That was something I was experiencing. So to be able to, first person I ever talked to about that was Jay Majors, actually. And he said, sometimes your industry is elevating you and you may not know that. And so if other people are experiencing stuff like that, like if you go to the restroom, if I go to the restroom and I have 5 minutes to get back and I keep getting stopped along the way, sometimes I may have to, you know what I mean? Like you may have to do those tough sacrifices. You may have to hold it. You may have to, whatever it is. But to be able to talk to other educators and to get refueled, that helps me sometimes. To be able to talk to other business owners, other influencers. So there are people on here that may not do what we do. There are people on here who may be getting ready to start their own business or open their own shop, to connect with other people who are on that playing field. I'm in Atlanta. Marcus Harvey, Hawk,
boy, Hawk.
Yeah, like there is so many. I can keep naming people, and it's crazy because I've heard before, like, well, these people don't let us in, or how do we get in with these people, or how do we get down with these people? We were just connected and we all started our businesses at the same time, but we were on the same frequency. We're on the same mission. We have the same goals, so we can share knowledge on that level. If anybody got any new knowledge, we could share that amongst the group. And now we all own our own businesses, and now we can depend on each other for that level of business. So I think just continuing to reiterate, going to these shows is where you connect. It's where you put your links together and you make your change strong.
It's a nucleus.
It is. It feels like
Julia hit us with something.
Yeah, and don't forget about the after parties. There's so many after parties connected with the shows. So there's so much networking to do. Like, you'll always feel like, darn, I missed that one booth, or darn, I missed my favorite educator. It's so much to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
We've touched on some truly brilliant stuff, and if you guys aren't seeing all of the comments that we're getting about this, like, Brandy, you are so smart. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Earlier, people were going like, "Oh my God," saying about Bird, it's because of the work that he puts out. You only get out what you get in. Bird's definitely getting around. Like, so this is really incredible.
Thank you guys.
For answering that stuff on education, on networking, how those connect, on the value of brand ambassadorship and looking into that when you're at trade shows. So now we're gonna get into the weeds of it a little bit, and like the literal stuff. So what about what you bring? So, we did a rehearsal last week where we sort of made sure that everyone had everything in order, and I hit them with a question, and I'm going to ask them this right now. I asked it in the chat earlier, and you guys gave us answers that took us to some great conversations about business cards and things like that. But what about what to bring to trade shows? Oh my gosh, I'm so anxious. What do I bring? How do I get this right? So I asked you guys to think about what is the one thing that you always bring to trade shows to the point that it doesn't even occur to you to remind people to bring it anymore because you always bring it? So let's start there. Like, what is your, if I couldn't have anything else, I would have this.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Brandy. I'm looking for mine. Where the hell is it?
Okay, so this is real, you guys. Bring an extra bag. I mean
This is genius. When I heard this,
empty extra bag. Bring an empty extra bag. So me and Bird talked the other day, right? I'm just throwing the information out there because I said I would. Okay.
Right.
I am a Delta girl. I want to fly Delta only my entire life. If Delta does what T-Mobile is doing and just buys up everything, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? I just want to be on Delta. I just want my snacks and I want my television. I want the experience, right? So with that being said, if you're on a budget for any reason, we know Delta still charges for bags. They have a little work to do. I'm hoping they're going to have a couple of, if they don't, I'm still sticking with them. I'm going to stand beside them, right? Okay, but if you want, you can always get on a Southwest flight. Southwest does the 2 free bags. And then that way, one of the bags you can use to put your clothes in, your shoes in, whatever you're bringing to the show. And then the other bag, just bring the bag so you can get your things home. And remember, you have a whole empty bag that can carry 50 pounds worth of product.
That's a lot.
You know, so just think about the extra bag. That's my one thing. I don't know if you want to go back and forth, but that's my main thing. I would always get people to walk up and, I got this for you. I got this for you. Or I'm sneaking away from my booth trying to get the latest something at another booth. And not having room was devastating leaving sometimes. So, or having to mail myself things back home.
Oh yeah, especially not right now. Avoid that.
Not fun. So
all right,
I
Bird,
gotta be honest with you.
You're
I gotta be honest. Brandy is fire because that one is fire because it's so
be
true,
honest.
You know?
Be honest, Bird.
I gotta be honest with you. I always gotta be honest. No, you know, let me be honest. Like, I like packing like very little, but the problem is, so I like to travel with a carry-on and nothing else, like just a carry-on. But the thing is, I like to change outfits all the time. So I try to stuff everything into my little bag, into my little carry-on bag, right? So the fact that you're saying this is awesome because even now, with all the experience of doing trade shows, I always got this free stuff, and then I ended up giving it to other people, which is, I think it's a blessing. I give it to everybody else because I can't fit it anyways. I literally struggle. I'm struggling with what you're talking about. I'd be like, oh man, this is sick. Like, thanks so much. And then I'm like, all right, well, I can't fit this anyways. And I don't have nothing to check in because my bag is a carry-on. I'm not gonna check it in. And
because
it's hilarious.
Because Delta doesn't let us do that. But because they let us do everything else. That's why. And then we understand. But you need
So all right, here's what I think. Here's what I think to bring. The most important thing, and I'm kind of like notorious for this one because I'll tell you right now, this is literally my job. So my job is on this thing right here. And I think the most important thing is to bring an extra portable charger. You got to bring an extra portable charger because when you're out there and you're networking and you're like meeting people and your phone is dead, that means no more pictures with anyone. That means no more, like, you might have a camera, but now you can't follow somebody. You can't be like, hey, what's your Instagram or what's your TikTok or anything. So you kind of like lose a big portion of like the networking. You know, of course you can have the talk and everything, but that phone right here has to be on. My phone's always dead. Like, I'm notorious for having a dead phone. So definitely bring a portable charger or charger with you and find somewhere like you need it.
I have a battery pack. I
A
wanted
battery
to show
pack,
you
yeah.
guys. I wanted to show you guys, but I don't want to have to run and go get it. But I literally have, like the army bags, they have the little pouches, and then they have where you're supposed to put all the little gear in. I literally have an electricity bag. That bag is filled with extra batteries. That bag is filled with the bags to all my phones, because I understand this situation. And I just got another one.
Let me go get my battery pack. Hold on.
Yeah.
We can
So
take a
if
picture.
you
This is my battery pack.
We've got about eight minutes left of the webinar, and then we're going to do our sign off. So if you have specific questions, Stephanie, I see yours. We'll go there next. But yeah, Bert. So you guys were telling me about the bags that you bring, though. Like, you do special things with the bags that you bring places, like crossbody bags, things like that. And then I'm going to grab the Booksy bag and show y'all. But tell them what you told me.
So basically, like, I'll use because so when you're going through and you need to grab just 2 bags, the Booksy one. When you go through and you need and you're taking the 2 carry-ons. So let's say you have a bag and a bag. I can do 3 of the 2 carry-ons by having that additional bag going across my chest, similar to what Bird and no, not what Bird has, because his is a hard case. So mine is soft. Mine is a soft case. So that way I can always roll it up and stick it down in the book bag that I'm carrying, and then I can always open it back up and put my I usually put my camera lenses and stuff in there as well. So it's just so I can take all the things that I need with me. But it's really important. He nailed it. You guys, remember to bring that battery pack. It's so sad when you're gonna miss your show or your next class because you wanted to catch it. You wanted to be able to use your phone for your notes. You've been taking pictures all day, and all the barbers, there's like 10 barbers or not just barber shows, but there's all these beauty professionals sitting around this one plug socket, and everybody's waiting in line to get a bit of juice. That is the worst thing. Like, literally put one of those little bags together. I have like 4 different types of cords. They can go to an Android. They can go to, because I try to make sure I have things for other people. Like,
Oh, you're so nice.
I know. I feel like I have a
I'll throw out one more thing before we answer Stephanie's question, and that is, it's important because you don't want to miss those networking opportunities, the photo opportunities, but also nowadays, I mean, we're in somehow in 2022, a lot of these conventions, you can sign up and get notifications. So if you want to catch that Alfredo Luis balayage class that Booksy's doing in the classroom on Sunday, you can sign up and get a notification for that. So really do make sure, like, to have that charger just so that you don't miss that education. So you're not having to like pull out your notebook and be like, okay, where am I going next? Like, nothing wrong with that.
I just think this is the most important thing that we have in our like, it's just something that's with us so much. Like, it does so much for us, It's like, so if it's
your
dead,
wallet now,
it's everything.
So we'll call this the final question before we do our sign off. Stephanie Macklemore says, what about business cards or scannable QR codes? So we talked about business cards a little bit, but I did want to give you guys one last chance to circle back. Do either of you go the scannable QR code route when you are places, or do you just go? Now, Brandy, I know you've got a particular blue answer to this.
I do, and I'm like, it's over there. It's a card that I have. And literally you can lay the card on the back of it. It's a blue card. It's called blue, but it's not actually blue. It's transparent, see-through, and it has a chip in it. Someone actually said something about it on here earlier, that they do the same thing. I'm not sure if his name is spelled correctly. He said that, so I don't want to mispronounce it. But yes, you just scan the back of it, and some of these cards, if you're new to the new with the company, then it's free. This particular company, when I started with them, it was free. I think maybe it might be $20 a month now. And literally, you put the card on the back. You keep this one card with you. You put the card on the back of your phone, and then a link comes up, and that gives them the link to your LinkedIn, to your IG, to your YouTube channel, to everything. So that way you're not wasting money handing out cards that people potentially throw away. Whatever platform they're interested in, like let's say someone is more inclined to follow on YouTube because they're more interested in YouTube, but they're not heavy on TikTok, or they're not as heavy or heavily involved on an Instagram platform. They can just go down to what they and press subscribe right away. They can just go down to which platform
What's it called?
they are heavy on. It's called Blue. BLUE.
Like BLUE card?
Yeah, you can talk to them. Let me go get the card
Go
so
ahead,
they can see the actual card.
All right. So I like that. You know, I have seen a few people that have that, or they have like a little pop socket that you kind of like. I don't have any of that, so I think I gotta upgrade myself to one of those. At the moment, when I'm at shows, I like to interact and have a really good, solid conversation with whoever I'm networking with, and I just take the time to follow them or get their contact. I do. The old school, I wouldn't say it's that old school, but I definitely do that route, you know. How many people are in here? Hello, Stephanie, Alicia.
Got it.
I have a few people in here.
Okay.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So it says, hello, my name is Blue. And that's where you're going to go to the website as well. But you just tap it on the back of this card. You see how that came up like that? Tap it on the back of the card. Here, let me do it on here so you guys can see better, because this one's on dark mode. I think
is it working or no? Or is it having one of those things? You know when you try to show something and it doesn't work? When
it doesn't. It's like not doing it right now in front of everybody.
That's the worst, huh?
I think
it's all right. Guys, it works. So
it does work, guys. Don't even try it.
It's just not working at the moment because it's just one of those things.
Yeah. I'm not an ambassador for them, though.
No, but I've seen those. I was telling them that I've seen the one that's like a little pop socket too. Have you seen those? There's like little.
They do those too. But yeah, you basically I don't know. I just showed Julia this yesterday. I can't believe this is like happening like right now. But anyway, guys, you put this card on the back of here, and it normally works. And maybe my stuff is like messed up right now. And then all of your apps come up. So Julia's still on here?
Yep. Sorry about that.
I'm kind of sad. It seems like Julia's gonna come and tell us that it's almost over, and I don't really want her to tell.
I am. I'm sorry. So just a couple housekeeping things for everyone here. We hope that you have enjoyed this webinar. If there's anything that either the brilliant Brandy or Bird said that you're like, oh my gosh, they said something amazing about networking, and I don't remember what it is. Don't worry. This webinar will be available on the Booksy YouTube page. And if you search Booksy on YouTube, you'll find us. They'll be tagged as well. And also, you can find a lot of our amazing ongoing educational opportunities online as well. I'm going to quick drop you that link. And the link is for our Booksy webinars page. It will also list upcoming trade shows that we're at. Booksy is going to be at America's Beauty Show this weekend, the 9th through 11th. We will have great educational opportunities. Please come find me. Come find so many of us here at the Booksy booth and our educators. We won't have Brandy and Bird at that one, but you can find them at other amazing trade shows all around the world. So thank you so much for joining us here. If you have any questions, please let us know. And this chat will remain available after it's done. So if you are looking for the link for that ambassador workshop that's upcoming or anything like that, you can find those there. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Bird. Any final words from either of you?
You guys go to these shows.
Go to
good words.
Go to the show. Get to the shows. I followed a few of you guys. Make sure you connect with us, stay in contact with us. If you have any questions, we're here to respond. Might take a day or two or maybe a week, but we're here at all times. And we're here for the whole industry. So I hope to see you guys in person at some point. Me and Brandy, I want to work with her more. Julia, you did a phenomenal job having us here as a
Julia,
host.
thank
Your
you
hair,
so much.
yeah, you out-haired
Let's
me.
talk
Not a lot
about
of
this
people
hair.
out-haired me.
I can't believe she did. She
Like,
did.
that's
It's a once
crazy,
in a
right?
lifetime. Out hairing Bird Mena is
That's
mind-boggling. So.
What is today? Today is the day. It happened.
What
You know,
is
shout
today?
out Olivari Salon for my great colors. I'll just say, but seriously, thank you both so much. You are both you are a gift. You are a gift to the industry and the education that you provide and the wisdom and just the overall attitude that you really have for all times for everyone. It's remarkable. So to everyone watching, if you haven't yet, I have dropped the link to both of their Instagrams. Oh my gosh, follow them. You will be so glad that you did, whether you are specifically in the hair industry or the broader beauty industry. Seriously, their stuff's inspirational. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find their links in the comments there. Thank you both so much. I'm Julia from Booksy. I hope to see you at another webinar in the future. Have a great day, everyone.